The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea-green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money wrapped up in a £5 note. The owl looked up to the stars above and sang to a small guitar. "Oh lovely pussy, oh pussy my love, what a beautiful pussy you are, you are, you are, what a beautiful pussy you are." The Owl's Diary, Day 1. I am having problems relating to my crew member, having never been a great fan of cats, nor they of birds. Why have we been press-ganged into service together? What can they hope to achieve by sending this absurd duo out to sea? I am an owl. The cat is a cat. We are not sailors, neither of us. Who sewed our tiny blue uniforms? Who fashioned my owl-sized beret? Who dressed us as miniature mariners? Who shamed us in this way? Initially, I was uncomfortable in the extreme with this situation. The cat is, of course, my natural predator, and were it to attack me whilst I sleep, things could go either way. My owl talons might match its claws in a fair fight, deep in the woodland, high on a city rooftop, or in the back room of some cockney boozer. But I am in a weakened state, barely recovered from the night they trapped me with puppet mice and then took out toffee hammers and broke all the bones in my wings, one by one, and battered me into unconsciousness. Me, the owl, he who is supposed to be so wise, played for a fool by sods. To distract me from my pain, I have been given a small guitar, which I suppose would be some consolation if I had any fingers. Luckily, the pussycat is terrified of water, which now surrounds us in great quantities. Much as it has an instinctive hostility towards me, its suspicion of the sea is far greater. My heart goes out to it, the tiny trembling thing. I have tried to allay its fears, but it is a cat. I am an owl, and we do not share a common language. My limited range of gestures, flapping my wings, screeching, trying to play my small guitar, and spinning my head through 360 degrees, is proving inadequate. If only I could quit this doomed voyage. If only I could fly away. But I can't. Today at noon we saw on the far horizon another pea-green boat, identical to ours in every respect, but crewed by a Jack Russell Terrier and a rabbit. It seems inappropriate nautical pairings are the very button of fashion. The dog sees the rabbit, the end is in sight, the sun is setting. The cat has said nothing so far, but I think it likes me. Must try to sleep. Need sleep. Day 2. I became afflicted with a great hunger this morning and resolved to find some provisions. To my horror, it appears that all we have been issued with is honey in a jar. This presents problems as neither the cat nor I have opposable thumbs, although somehow I am able to play the small guitar and write this. It seems this voyage has been very badly planned indeed. We are at sea, without map or compass, with no knowledge of why we were set upon the waves, and no fixed destination in mind. We share nothing but suspicious glances, and we have nothing to eat but honey, beloved only by babies and by bees. And, wrapping a bundle of coppers, we have a £5 note. I can only assume those that set us on our way were Englishmen. It would be typical of their isolationist arrogance to assume their currency will be acceptable worldwide. Once I could have fluttered up off the deck, spread my wings and raked fish out of the waves for the cat and I to feast upon. But my feathers flutter ineffectually on my shattered limbs, and I hold out little hope for our survival. A shame. I've nearly learned how to play the E minor chord. Today at noon we saw on the far horizon another pea green boat, identical to ours in every respect, but crewed by a spider and a fly. Their web sail is proving spectacularly ineffectual. Perhaps if the fly didn't struggle so, they might make more headway. Today when I approached it, the cat hissed at me and raised its hackles. But I feel we are making real progress. Must sleep. Need sleep. Day 3. During the night, while I lay sleeping, the cat has somehow opened the jar. I suspect it may be keeping things from me. Information, utensils, some kind of jar opener, and the depth of its true feelings. I sympathise. It is difficult to communicate emotions at the best of times, but these are impossible circumstances. Perhaps if we had a chaperone, things might be different. We could pass love notes and pressed flowers between one another, and gradually our relationship might blossom. As it is, I am left to try and interpret the most basic of gestures. The cat retches. Is this evidence of butterflies in the stomach, of a mounting erotic desire, of the first exhilarating pangs of love, or simply a furball? It is too soon to say. As for our daily rations, well, the cat can put its little paw into the jar and scoop the honey out of the jar, of course, but I am an owl, and on the front of my head I have the large flat face of an owl. This will not fit into a jar. I try to peck honey off the cat's feet. It scratches my eye out, but the stinging of the salt wind burns away the pain, and the greatest romances of history and literature are often characterized by periodic bouts of violence. I try to calm the cat down by singing a soothing song on the small guitar. Oh lovely pussy, oh pussy my love. But it was difficult to find the right chords with only one eye and no hands. Also, I cannot actually speak. I think I have made the situation worse. Maybe if the guitar wasn't so small, it might be easier to play. Later, I tried to scoop the honey out of the jar using my wing and lick it off, but I ended up with feathers stuck all round my face and looked as if I had attacked a small bird. Today at noon, we saw on the far horizon another pea green boat, identical to ours, but crewed by an elephant and a mouse. It is sinking, obviously. The elephant holds a sailor's hat in its trunk where, in happier times, tasty peanuts and juicy buns were clasped, and waves it at me forlornly as it slips beneath the waves. The mouse, in turn, makes only obscene gestures towards me as it drowns, on behalf of the hundreds of its kind I have slaughtered and eaten. I feel a little ashamed, but what can I say? I was hungry, and probably drunk as usual. Must sleep. Pussy said to the owl, "You elegant fowl, how charmingly sweet you sing. Oh, let us be married. Too long we have tarried, but what shall we do for a ring?" And they sailed away for a year and a day, to the land where the bong tree grows. And there in a wood a piggy wig stood, with a ring at the end of his nose, his nose, his nose, with a ring at the end of his nose. The Owl's Diary, day 47. The cat has eaten all the honey. Surely we will die here. A pity. I had nearly learned the chords for Mull of Kintyre by Sir Paul McCartney's Wings, a simple song which nevertheless once stirred the race memory of millions. Oh, I forget, did I ever tell you the cat has started speaking to me? You wouldn't understand what the cat says if you were to hear it. To you, its eulogies would just seem like the desperate mewling and the listless, tortured breathing of an animal in pain. To you, the sounds the cat makes would indicate simply that it was dying, slowly, of exposure and thirst, here at sea, miles from land, our useless honey long gone, our £5 note predictably irrelevant in this retail-free environment. But to me, the tiny variations in the pitch and tone of the cat's death rattle form coded messages. Can you hear? The cat says that I am an elegant fowl. The cat says I sing sweetly, charmingly even. The cat says it wants to marry me. The cat says it cannot wait. It cannot wait for me, the owl. The cat's feelings are not so hard to fathom. It seems to me the cat and I have much in common. We both eat mice, and at present neither of us can fly. There are probably some other things too, but I can't think of them at the moment. I knew the cat would succumb to my charms eventually. It's lucky I didn't show my hand too soon. Play it cool, my father, the owl, always told me. Let them come to you, the coquettish sluts. Today on the far horizon, a red squirrel and a grey squirrel sailed past us in another pea-green boat. I doubt their voyage will end well. Day 159. As an owl, I am privileged to be able to tell what I have recently eaten by examining my owl pellets, which now litter the boat from prow to stern. To pass the time, I do so. It appears I once ate some honey and some feathers, and then nothing for the best part of 5 months. It occurs to me that this diary is somewhat superfluous. When we finally drift ashore, dead, all anyone needs to know of our adventure will be contained in my droppings, which will read like a diary of my deterioration. That which began in honey ends in despair. The same is true of life generally. Did I tell you the cat speaks to me? It speaks to me, the owl. It says it wants to marry me, but it has anxieties as to how we will sanctify our union, as we have no ring, which is predictable. And, as we are of different species, we could never mate. Thus, the symbolism of the ring, binding us together, becomes all important. It's all we have. Everything must be done with the utmost decorum. To me, of course, marriage is an irrelevance, a foolish institution from a bygone age. But one can understand the cat's need for some kind of formality, to make it feel confident in the seriousness of my intentions. Also, once we are married, in the event of my death, the cat will inherit all my worldly goods, my guitar, my droppings and so forth, which will help sustain it until it finds another lover. This it could do with my blessing, for I am wise, generous and fair, and from beyond the grave I would bestow only my blessing upon whatsoever creature should take it upon itself to quench the insatiable lusts of my beloved and bereaved cat. Time passes, the cat speaks to me, and so do the gulls, mocking me as they fly, and the waves and the creaking timbers of the pea-green boat. They tell me I must live, must try to live. Today, at noon, we saw on the far horizon another pea-green boat, identical to ours in every respect, but empty, its ill-matched animal crew presumably having lost heart and cast themselves into the sea. A birdcage rocks abandoned on the deck, a tiny mirror swings, a cuttlefish shell rattles. Must sleep, must try to. Day 366. Some time ago now, the cat proved its love for me. Its love for me, the owl. It gave me its heart. Take my heart, it said, I think, and so I did. There is an island up ahead. A bong tree grows there. Just the one though. And there's a pig in a wood. Look, cat, look, the bong tree, the wood, the pig. Can you see them? Now we can make our vows. Dear pig, are you willing to sell for 1 shilling your ring? Said the piggy, I will. So they took it away and were married next day by the turkey who lives on the hill. They dined on mince and slices of quince, which they ate with a runcible spoon. And hand in hand, on the edge of the sand, they danced by the light of the moon. The moon, the moon. They danced by the light of the moon. The Turkey's Diary, day 9012. There was an owl here in Bong Tree Land today. It seemed distressed. You'll recall the pig who lives in the wood. I've written to you of him before. Apparently there was some altercation this morning. An owl arrived in the pig's clearing, gaunt and wild-eyed, with something in a bag, something fetid, some kind of carcass. The owl wrenched the ring from the pig's nose and ran off, and you know how much the pig liked that ring. The pig liked that ring very much indeed. Later on, the owl arrived at the hill where I, the turkey, live. It threatened me with the neck of a broken guitar and insisted I wed it to the rotten contents of the bag. I held my nose and looked in, but the wreckage inside was indistinct. I can pay you, the owl said, £5. It has been a dreadful winter here in Bong Tree Land, as you know, and against my better judgment I accepted the owl's offer. Needless to say, it was a travesty of the wedding ceremony. One of the celebrants was dead, the other deranged, and I am not an ordained minister. I am a turkey. After the service, such as it was, I watched the owl stumble down the hill a little, slashing repeatedly at the bag's contents with its talons as it went, until whatever had been inside was reduced to scraps of shredded carrion. Then it emptied pieces of fruit into the bag and raised it above its head, shaking it vigorously. When the owl had finished this strange procedure, it sat down amidst the daisies and slowly and with great solemnity took out a spoon and ate as much of the bag's grisly mixture as it could. Later, as evening fell, the owl stood and hurried to the beach. The moon rose. Me, I sat on a branch and watched the owl spin round in circles, swinging the carcass bag over its head once more, before falling to the ground and weeping. I thought I heard it whispering to itself, but with the background of the waves I cannot be sure what was said, or whom the poor creature imagined it was addressing. That which began in honey ends in despair, the owl appeared to cry over the gentle rush of the encroaching tide. Then the waves covered it, and it was seen no more.
Wrong elephant, wrong mouse, this isn't goddamn Steamboat Willie, cut. Okay everybody, that's a wrap, thank you very much, and cut.